This season of Maine American Legion baseball is dedicated to longtime coach and umpire Chappy Nelson. He passed away unexpectedly on June 19th at 64 in Levant. Thomas assistant baseball coach Russell Mercier described his impact on the game in Maine.
Just a happy-go-lucky guy that it didn't matter what field you were on, what team was playing. There were people on both sides, umpires, fans that all knew him. He supported a lot of local athletes that went on to play in college by following them. Just a huge baseball fan.
Nelson was a graduate of Lawrence High School, Colby College, and Ohio State. He worked as an equipment manager with the Mules from 1985 to 2016 before going to Bowdoin. Nelson umpired for more than 40 years and coached at multiple levels in Maine.